love that we all come together to support one another to help really drive and boost the industry that we are in. Hi, good morning everyone, and welcome to our second webinar of the day with the lovely Galina Spierling, who is here. This session is all about how to tackle common hand, nail and feet problems within your salon. Galina is here, she'll be showing a presentation, and then there'll be an opportunity at the end to ask her some questions. Please use the Q&A box, which is at the bottom of your screen, to ask questions throughout the session, and then we will ask Galina to answer them at the end. So I hope everyone is well, happy Easter, and over to you, Galina, to start your presentation.
Hi, hello, good morning everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I am still a practicing nail technician. I own a beauty salon. I train people and I train salon managers as well as nail technicians and manicurists for all types of services that there are in the nail industry. And today I wanted to go back to very basics, and we live all in Dubai, UAE. Some of you may be joined from abroad, but I will yet concentrate on specialties of our industry here in UAE and Middle East. And the most common complaints today to discuss, the first thing I'd like to say is that if customers are complaining to you, it's a treasure for our business. It is very dangerous when customers are just turning away and never tell you why they don't want to come back or what was not right for them. So treasure the complaints as moving forward your business. The first problem I will talk about is the nail polish or gel polish not drying right, or giving you some bubbles or peel off, or anything that has to do with nail polishes, gel polishes not drying right. And here I would like to switch on the first slide, where I would like to talk you through the basics. So as you can see on the left side of the screen, we have a structure of application of nail polish, or as we call it, lacquer. It makes sense nowadays to call it lacquer because we have gel polish. So just to avoid extra confusion on what type of polish it is, lacquer that dries with air. And you can see that we have a base layer that is applied on the nails, the layer number 1 and layer number 2. That's the most common way of applying lacquer, 2 layers. And the top coat, of course. You can see that I put the arrow with air, so it's known that we dry it with air. Some salons are drying nail polishes with the drying fans, and yet I've heard a lot of comments that whatever brand they use, some of the nail polishes are giving bubbles. So let me talk you through why bubbles may occur. That's when you see the nail polish is done, everything was applied as usual, but you have some bubbles. I hope someone can relate to this. So what happens normally? The reason one is soaking natural nails in water. It is not good for the nail polish or for the nails. Why? Because in the natural nail plate, you may have moisture or water that is stuck. And if the manicure is finished, let's say in 30 to 40 minutes, within this time you manage to soak, cleanse the skin and the cuticles, and then apply right away base coat, layer 1, layer 2, and a top coat. the moisture that is stuck will start pushing through the base and all the layers, and therefore creating bubbles. That's reason one. So try to avoid or minimize soaking, and during preparation for application of your nail polish, please use thorough techniques of prepping the nail for application of nail polish or lacquer, which means you are sanitizing the nail as usual with either professional sanitizer or surgical spirit, and then you're using your dehydrator, which basically removes the last bits and pieces of the moisture to let lacquer therefore dry well. Another reason for bubbles or for the nail polish not lasting very well or not drying very well is shaking your bottle. The nail polish bottle, unfortunately, I don't have, I'm locked as everyone, I don't have the nail polish bottle with me in the house. Just shaking it this way creates lots of bubbles, especially if your nail polish brand uses lots of pigments in it. So what happens is, while applying, those bubbles will slightly, slowly but surely start occurring on the surface, even through your top coat. So avoid shaking. Instead, either roll it between or use a fresh nail polish bottle, lacquer bottle, or just dilute it with professional solvents, which some brands sell here in UAE. So you can add few drops, roll it between your palms and start applying. And the very, very common technique that I advise normally to all the salons is, once you've done the cleansing and prepped well the nail plate for application, is apply the base coat, apply the first layer of lacquer, and give it a time to dry. Why? Because the first layer, and in general, lacquer itself, is drying on air, therefore allowing all the solvents to evaporate. So basically, once allowing the first layer to dry well, the nail technician at this time can stand up and cleans up the place that she worked at, and offer extra tea or coffee to the client and tell her that she's going to come back for the second layer. So once you gave a time, a few minutes for the first layer to dry, you can very well apply the second layer and follow by the top coat. That will give the service extra quality because the layers will dry thoroughly and you will allow all the solvents to evaporate well. If you do apply 2 layers and all these 4 layers at once, you can clearly see that solvents may start pushing through layers and therefore again creating bubbles. And not only, if you apply all the layers at once, just follow right away, base coat layer 1, layer 2, and top coat right away, and then you're going to put your customer under the dryer or use the quick dry drops, it may harden the top layer, but inside the first and second layer will be still on its way drying out. So your customer may go home with the feeling that the nail polish was dried, but eventually she is going to either smudge this nail polish or it will become dull very soon, and so on. So please give it a time between 2 layers of a nail polish to dry out. Now, the better quality of a nail polish, professional nail polish, is where you have a big, large amount of pigments, the color, and therefore less solvents, and that will allow the nail polish to be brighter, nicer color, and glossier. Of course, top coat plays a huge role in the quality of a nail polish application. So basically, with the lacquer, I have so far covered everything, and now I'm going to move to the gel polish, which is on the right side of your screen. And you can see that the gel polish is reacting or drying out. We don't say drying out, it's being cured because it's a gel. it is being cured with the light. Nowadays, we have millions of beautiful brands that offer us all types of gel polish and beautiful colors and so on. The main point to keep good quality of application of your gel polish is to use the right lamp. Mostly, I would suggest going to LED. I think most of the salons have shifted already from UV lights to LED lights. The difference is that physically it is the strongest way and the fastest way of curing the gel polish, the LED lights. It's basically physically stronger lights. So as usual, you would prep the nail plate, you would do your manicure, and I strongly recommend avoiding water during the gel polish application at all. Why? A, water again may repel the polish away from the nail plate. Not today, but maybe tomorrow, or just disturb the service quality at all. The second reason why soaking before gel polish application is not good, because nail plate, by absorbing a lot of water in itself, and then you are covering it with the gel polish on top for 2 or sometimes 3 weeks, may result in nail plate being damaged by the locked moisture in it. So therefore, try to follow the protocol that will allow you to clean the nail plate and the cuticles without water being involved. That's one. Another point is prep the nail plate again very well. I always advise to use the cleansing product, which is a surgical spirit based product. Some professional brands offer those, plus dehydrating twice the nail plate with dehydrators. These are those dehydrators that are normally in the shape of nail polish bottle, and most of the brands sell it. Normally, most of the brands advise it to apply before gel or acrylic application. I say that you should use it all the time throughout all the applications on the nail plate. The second point is, please try to apply the base and the first layer as thin as possible. Cure it as prescribed as per your brand that you're using. And the second layer to follow with beautiful coverage of a color. And of course, top coat. Normally, the curing time for every layer is 30 to 60 seconds. Again, it depends on how highly pigmented the gels are. And here I would like to say, I see already this, the third slide. So here, before we go on to strengthening gel discussion, I would like to say is that the quality of gel lasting on the nails is not only depending on one factor. It's not just a lamp. There are many factors. First, it's the quality of the product. Second, it's the lamp that you're using, as I said, but not only the LED lamp type. I will show you now one lamp that I likely have with me. You can see here, we have the lights that are very close to the nails, and we have here 16 bulbs. They're very strong. You can see them placed above, so basically this is the lamp. And you can see only 3 bulbs next to the thumb. Thumbs are normally laying down, and therefore the light does not come if you're using the lamp, which has only bulbs on top. Then you do not have the lights achieving the thumbs. So the customers might complain that the thumb peeled off very fast. Another point, if your client complains always on the same 3 nails, which are the index, the middle, and the thumb, and if it's her right hand, if it's her hand that is being used mostly in her daily life, that means either her nails are not cured well or was not positioned well in the lamp, or your lamp is just too weak. The lamp should be about 36 watt, and there should be, I advise you to have minimum 16 bulbs. And please check that the bulbs are very close to the gel polish. Today I'm having a brand-free discussion, and therefore I would not be naming any brands for referral, but I will tell you that some brands failed in quality of gel polish production because their lamps were too weak. So be responsible, check your lamp. It's not only about the design. Another point, why gel may not last for your customers. Let's say people say that, oh, I was promised to have my gel polish for 2 or 3 weeks, but last only 1 week or even less. That may very well have to do with quality or the status of her natural nail plate. If her nail plates or nails are naturally thin and pliable, you might want to use the strengthening gel. And here I will go back to the slide that we had last. Please, the slide on the presentation. Can we switch on the slide? Yes, thank you. So here I've added a base coat for the gel, and then you can see with the red line strengthening gel. So I highly recommend to have an add-on service in your salons, which is called strengthening gel, or you can call it energizing gel. The brand that I work with, they are calling it energizing gel. What it does, the strengthening or energizing gel establishes extra little thickness to the nails, to the thin, pliable nails. Nails might be damaged, might be just naturally thin. So by adding strengthening gel before the gel polish, you may add a beautiful shape and also a little bit of a strength, allowing your client to really wear the gel polish for 2-3 weeks. Normally in my salon or in my work, I'm always up for doing anything on the nails as long as health and quality of natural nails does not suffer. And strengthening gel will allow your customer to have gel polish without peeling, because peeling itself also causes an extra damage. Also, removing just with acetone, soaking every 2 to 3 weeks your nails, your customer's nails in acetone may add the damage to the nails of a client. So when you're removing the gel polish, please be careful. Filing off with professional electric files actually allows to save your customer's nails. Sometimes you can just remove the top, the second layer, and the first layer by leaving strengthening gel on for the next application. So basically allowing that nail gel lasting and covering and protecting the nail plate for the next service, and allowing your customer to grow her own natural nails and enjoy the service for a long time. I'm really hoping that you are placing the questions within my time that I'm talking now, and I will move on to a second slide, on the third slide actually. The fourth, it's a fourth slide. Shall we move on to fourth slide? And that will bring me to the next point. When customers are complaining that you do not have a certain brand. No, the previous, please, previous. Can you switch on back to the previous where I have, where we have diapers, actually. The funny thing, we will talk about diapers now. I wanna have some, Andy, it's a page with, yes. So here, you might be shocked that I put something out of our context, but it has a lot to do with when people are asking you on the phone, please, I want gelish or I want shellac manicure. What customers are referring to is actually a type of service. It's not that they're asking for a particular brand. They're asking you to have a manicure or pedicure with the gel polish. But why they're saying gelish or shellac? It's because we have a brand name versus product type. We as mothers or fathers, when we're shopping diapers, We're asking normally for Pampers because it was very well marketed, or Huggies, but overall it's all called diapers. It's a type of a product. In our case, it's a gel polish. So it's not just a gelish manicure, or it's a shellac manicure, or it's whatever manicure. It's a gel polish application manicure. So educating your customers in this regard is very essential. In fact, I've tested it for a couple of years in my own salon and in all other salons that I was training. When customers arrive for such service, when they're asking you just for gelish or shellac, they're actually, when they're given these palettes with a lot of nice and beautiful colors, it's not anymore about the brand, it's about the gel polish color. And you can see here, I have many brands, but it's not written. What they do is they choose happily the color. And then after all, it depends on you, how properly you do your service and how happy your customer will be after the service is done. So the next slide I will go to is nail anatomy. And why do I want to show you that? Because in many cases, gel polish, yes, this is the right one. In many cases, customers may complain that their gel polish always peels off next to the cuticle, basically from this, the top part. This has to do something with the manicuring. You can see on the right side of the screen, red color, which we call cuticle. So if you have any leftover of a tiny little piece of a skin that is attached firmly to the nail plate, and then you proceed with application of a gel polish, or it can be nail extensions, by getting onto that part of skin, gel polish, acrylics, gels, whatever permanent application you have on the nails, it may start peeling off. So please look into the technique of cleaning the nail plates very well. Make sure that you never ever touch the skin by gel, therefore allowing the gel to last longer. I've personally met a lot of customers who had here and there some experiences, and they all said exactly the same thing. Oh, my gel polish was lifting next to the cuticle. And when I see this customer's cuticles, I see that normally these are those whose cuticles are very dry or require extra cleaning or extra attention. These particular customers also are very good to be advised for home care. These are your normal cuticle oils or cuticle creams that you retail at your salon. In general, I advise every customer that had manicure or pedicure to go home with hand cream, foot cream, and definitely cuticle oil that allows to restore quality of natural nail and the cuticles, and helping you therefore to work less on their cuticles next time when you will be cleaning it. So I think with gel and peeling off, I'm done, and I will just repeat, by allowing the nail polish, regular nail polish, which is lacquer, drying the first layer, and then a few minutes later going on with second and the top coat, you will allow the nail polish to last longer. Also, by advising to buy a top coat to your client home, she can restore this nail polish in a few days by applying just on top of the nail polish a top coat that you sold her, and keeping therefore the nail polish life longer and shinier and longer lasting. The gel polish depends, gel polish application quality depends a lot, again, on your technique of cleansing the cuticle, prepping the nail plate and erasing completely the moisture. And if nails are too thin and pliable, gel polish will always peel off from the edges. Therefore, either recommend to a strengthening gel or extra layer of new types of gels that there are, and then proceed with the gel polish application. By executing the right manicure and cleansing very well the cuticles, not cutting, but the cleaning, you will allow gel polish to last longer next to the cuticles, so the gel polish will not peel off. This I can prove by the next slide. You can see the live picture. Where is our next slide, please? Just to finalize with the gel polish. Can we have a next slide? Yes, that was about it. Yes, you can clearly see this is a live picture, and you can see the cuticle arrow, and this is that almost invisible thin layer of a cuticle that will disturb the gel polish application. So make sure that technique of the manicure is correct and right. It's not about cutting, it's about cleaning well. And going forward, I hope if you do have questions, you're placing them now, but I will move forward to why artificial nails are breaking too often, or almost every other service your certain client, or maybe most of the clients, break nails, artificial nails, whether it's acrylics or gels. We can go on to the next slide. Here I will discuss the basics of construction that has to be known to every nail technician. This we learned during my classes very well, and this allows every nail technician be responsible and analyze her techniques during the service, and what may go wrong or what went wrong when her client came back and complained. So you can see the most common universal structures, structure points that we all have to know as a nail technicians. If the nails are breaking in the middle, that's where you can see the yellow line, smile line. That means the nail and the upper arch were not executed properly. I may speak now to some of you a foreign language, maybe not, but these are the structures that have to be met during every service of acrylic or gel nail extensions, whether it's a full set or it's a refill. That's how the nail should be constructed. If your nails, you can see that this is a square shape. This is the shape that is required to be met during the nail competition. These are also criteria that are being judged during the nail competitions worldwide, not only here. So we have here, the first thing, the most common thing is complaint is when the nails break in the middle. Very simple question. Your upper arch, which is a green larch, is inconsistent. If you look at the side of your nails this way, you might have this nail either too thin, or your apex placement is not met its standard. Apex is normally the thickest part of the nail. It should be normally made in the middle of the natural nail plate. When the nails are cracking off on the sides, it's basically on the line that is blue, and we call it lower arch. We have two lower arches on both sides. That means during the full set, your nails were not applied correctly. If you are working with tips, then the tip was not applied correctly, or the nail form, sculpting nail form, was not applied correctly as well. Normally during my training and to every nail technician, I'm telling that every previous step is the most important step. So if you'd like to have the nails very strong, durable, not only beautiful, you have to construct them very well. And in this case, if the nails crack on the sides, that means there was something wrong with application of tips or sculpting forms. And the finishing technique might have been too rough as well. You just filed a little bit too much of your lower arch. Also, if the lower arch is not consistent as it is on my structure here, the blue line is with gaps, with inconsistencies, naturally customer may start picking up on that gap, on that irregularity, and cause the damage as well to the nail. Again, I will repeat, this structure is a generic structure that every nail technician should know when constructing the nails during refills or nail extensions, full set. And going forward, if the nail parts, especially when the nails are square shaped, if the nail parts are chipping off at the end or breaking off just the edges, that means the C curve was not consistent enough. If you look at the picture, you can see the red line, dark red line, which is called C curve. If you look at it, it has to be always consistently exactly the same line in thickness. So thickness from left to right should be exactly the same. For the nail competition, it can be as thin as the business card. For daily life, it can be just slightly thicker, but not too thick. So don't fall for this mistake. If nails are breaking too often, then it means you have to make them too thick or thicker. No, you need to watch out for the proper construction, and therefore nail technicians are called technicians. They're technically correct, applying the right structure. Apex, as I said, it's the thickest part of the nail extensions during refill or during the full set, and it should be in the middle of the natural nail plate. Why is it thicker? We are applying an artificial part to the body, to the human hands that work during the day, million times moving, taking, and therefore they have to suffer the pressure of action. And when you apply the thickness of the nail on the wrong part, it's basically becoming like a scale. So if the heaviest part is at the edge, then these nails may lift, may break, or may fall off much faster. So therefore, watch out for the apex placement, of course. Again, I will say that to many probably now it's a generic questions, but maybe to someone it's news. And if you wish to, you can take a photo of the screen and then just go forward to the classes. And as I normally say, the knowledge, the training should be always constant. It's not like you've learned it once and then you proceed forward. Then the next point is, can we go to the next slide, please? So while we're going to the next slide, the last slide I actually would like to share, because it's half an hour and we have 30 minutes more left. When customers are complaining on overall shape of the nails, when they say, yes, that's the slide. So when they say that something was wrong and the manicure was done well, but something does not look right, the shape is all different and I don't like, it's not consistent. So I would invite you to look at another universal rule. You see that I've pointed out 3 fingers on left hand and 3 fingers on the right hand, and those nail plates should be exactly the same length. This rule applies to your daily manicures and daily nail extension services. It should be exactly the same, and that would what would make your customer see the consistency, with the middle finger slightly longer by 1 millimeter or so. The same rule applies to you winning the nail competition. If you're constructing nails on the competition, this rule is a must. Then the pinky can be also same, slightly shorter, by 1 millimeter shorter than the red line fingers. And the thumbs, exactly the same length, slightly longer by 1 millimeter than the red line fingers. This knowledge will allow you to measure yourself the consistency of when you're shaping and filing the nails during the manicures, during the gel or acrylic nail extension. This scheme is universal, used everywhere, and knowing this, you may be very well on the way to making your customers happy for consistency, not only on the application of colors, but also on the shaping and establishing beautiful nail shapes and length during manicures and nail extensions. So far with the slides, I'm done. I've gone through very, very basic points. And I would like to move on to pedicure, which would be maybe, if we have lots of questions, I don't know yet, which would be maybe last. Customers are always asking me on the next pedicure to remove even more skin. It's a very common complaint, or actually suggestion from the clients. Most of the customers are thinking if you scrub off a lot of skin on the heels, that will allow them to feel softer. And here I would have to say, no. This kind of pedicures are leading to even more damage and even more dry skin. The technique that I advise during the pedicures, whether you do them with e-files or you do them with normal foot files, I would recommend that you have to check the skin after your pedicure is completely done before application of a lotion or a cream, foot cream. I would advise you to check again the quality of the skin on the heels, on the soles, foot soles, while it's dry. So basically you've done the scrubbing of a foot, you've done the cleansing of a toenails, then go back to the foot while it dried out and see if that skin is still slightly rough. File it dry with lowest grit of your foot file to make sure that that skin is very smooth. Why do we have normally complaints if we don't do that? Because when you're doing a wet or water-based pedicure, in most cases, we do it while skin is very wet. And that does not allow us to see actually what is happening with the skin. You may have removed the layer, but you did not smoothen out that leftover of the skin. Proceeding with rinse, scrub, and lotion, you're just covering up, and then this customer goes home when her feet dried out. They are softer, but they feel slightly rough. And therefore, these customers are going back to you and asking you to remove even more. It's their unprofessional solution to having softer, smoother skin. So again, check the feet at the end of the pedicure with dry file and dried out skin, if it's smoothened, and if not, then just proceed drying it, filing it dry on a dry surface. So now I'll start looking forward to questions. Again, as I said, I've covered most common complaints that I've seen here on the market when consulting the salons or training new nail techs or the existing nail technicians. So I'm looking forward to the questions. Are there any questions?
Hi, Galina. Yes, there are. Right. So I will just go through them. Thank you, by the way, great presentation. So from an anonymous attendee, thanks for the great advice. Could you quote a brand of dehydrator?
Dehydrators are given by every brand that deals with nail extensions. So dehydrators are normally the last stage before primer if you are working with acrylics. I personally work with two favorite brands of mine. I work with Color Club and with Trinity Beauty USA. These are my favorite brands. Both of them are from USA and both offer dehydrators. In Trinity, it's called Ultra Bond. It has extra properties, antifungal properties. In Color Club, it's called Cleanse and Prep. So normally I first remove everything that is left after preparation of the nail plate with cleanser, and then I follow by Cleanse and Prep or the Ultra Bond. I hope that answered the question.
Okay. Next question from Jane. How do you know if the lamps are good quality?
The lamps should be good quality is a very large basically subject. We are looking for the lamps that are strong enough to cure the gel that you work with. Normally, most of the brands test their lamps, but yes, we had some hiccups in certain brands where the bulbs were too far or too little. So you're looking for the lamp. I suggest to go for LED, and I suggest the more number of bulbs, the better. The closer to the nails, the better, and not less than 36 watt capacity of the lamp. That's what I'm suggesting. Also, the lamps should be with reflectors. You can see that this lamp has a mirror reflectors, creating even more exposure of the light around. Also, very good point, having next to the thumbs more bulbs. So there are millions of lamps on the market, and these are the requirements that I'm suggesting.
Thank you very much. Okay, next question from Manishka. Actually, she's asked 3, so let's go with the first one. What brand of strengthening gel do you recommend, please?
At the moment, as I said, and yes, I am working with the brands that I prefer and that I've tested. I'm working with Trinity Beauty USA. It's called energizing gel. It comes in 2 colors, clear and natural color with a little pinky effect. That gel polish, you can see it on my videos on my Instagram, the way we apply it, or on YouTube channel that I have, Galina's Beauty Salon. So we have energizing gel, and I love it. You can apply just a thin base before the gel polish, or you can actually build up slightly the beautiful shape of the nail plate, and that will allow your customer with irregular shape of the nails to have beautiful result before the gel polish application. So it's energizing gel.
Fabulous. Next question. Is the strengthening gel a no-wipe one, or does it have a sticky layer?
Strengthening gels mostly do have sticky layers. Yes, it basically mostly have, yes, most of them have the sticky layers. I haven't tested all of them that there are, but yes, it does have a sticky layer. Sticky layer is necessary for the next layer of a gel to be applied. And normally strengthening gels are not to be filed. The way you apply it, you may see it on a lot of Instagram videos when ladies are constructing a layer with just a brush. So basically allowing the gel to set itself into a shape. So strengthening gels normally are not to file, and therefore, yes, they will have a sticky layer.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And why does gel last longer on extensions than natural nails?
Very good questions, love it. By the way, you may also notice that regular nail polish will last also much longer on artificial nails. First of all, because these are 2 substances, acrylics or the gels, allowing the gel to adhere because they are similar or same chemistry. That's one. Another one, as I said, if you're applying gel polish just on natural nails are flexible. The more thin, the more pliable nails are, natural nails, the more movement therefore, and the lesser the gel polish may last. And therefore, gel polish, just like applying onto artificial surface, it will last longer. So artificial to artificial, of course, it will last longer. And artificial nails are not flexible or less flexible. Therefore, yes, it will last longer on them.
Okay, fab, thank you. Okay, new question now from Lydia. What is the best way to get rid of discoloration of nails?
Oh, that's also very wide subject. Discoloration of nails, I should start as a responsible educator. I should start with, if you see a client, especially the new client with discolored nails, that are not known to you through your education, it's best to advise this customer to see the dermatologist, especially if there are some green colors or yellowish brown colors that are not known to you as what it is. Refer them to dermatologist, and preferably the dermatologist that has been tested already. But the best way, of course, to get rid of discoloration in different cases is different. In certain cases, like pseudomania, which is a green color, it's removing completely all the gel polish or nail polish and leaving these nails without coating, and advising to see a dermatologist. If nails are clearly discolored due to the nail polish, the first is to advise this client to use regularly the cuticle oil. Why? Because these nails, or our nails, just like hair, they're like a sponges. They absorb everything that comes first on them. So if you see nail plates discolored from regular nail polish lacquer, that means these nails are very dry. Advise your daily use of cuticle oil that will be absorbed into a nail plate first. The second, change your base coat. The base coat is not good enough. And so far, in my experience, I have not seen discolored nail polishes, discolored or changed color on nail, natural nail. Recently, I haven't seen it, and that has to do something with professional level of your nail polishes. I should mention here that the more commercial nail polish is, let's say from supermarket, the more solvents it will have in it formula. You may notice it by just simply having it more smelly. The more professional nail polish is, the more pigments, the more resins it will have. And therefore, these nail polishes are less likely to cause any discoloration. So I would invite you to look at your customer's nails quality and your quality of the nail polishes that you have. Sorry.
Perfect. Okay. Another question from Jane Whittington. What causes hang nail?
Hang nail, normally there are lots of causes to that. Hang nail is basically broken lateral walls or the sides of the cuticles around. We all call it cuticle generally. In professional world, we recognize two parts of the nail skin here, which is a panicum and cuticle. So hand nail is literally a damage that happens normally either by improper manicure, so basically lots of removing and leaving the skin finally not smooth. Another cause is delayed manicures, when your customer is not regular on her manicures and the hands are exposed to a lot of work, water, or some drying subjects. You can see sales attendants in the shops that deal with a lot of garments. Their skin tend to dry much faster. So those girls or those customers need to be advised to use definitely home care. And as a nail technician, I would like to have you review your technique. Basically, when you finish the manicure, it's not about cutting, it's rather about smoothing the skin around the nail. And that's where the E-file manicuring comes in handy, because it basically removes the skin not by cutting, but by abrasion of fine diamonds coating, and therefore leaving the skin completely ultimately smooth. So there is nothing to pick on, or there is nothing to dry so much that a hand nail may occur. Also, you can see a lot of hand nails on kids, because kids, we know that kids don't do manicures. Skin grows very fast, they play a lot, and therefore basically neglected parts of the skin may dry out and peak very quickly and turn into hand nails.
Okay, fab. What is the standard distance of the apex from the cuticle? And this is from Asia.
It's not about the distance from the cuticle. Next to the cuticle, product should be applied so that it's flushed into the natural nail. In fact, that you may still see a little bit of a natural nail to avoid the lifting. The apex should be placed in the middle of your natural nail plate nail bed. So basically, let's imagine you cut natural nails short, that's your nail bed, and the apex should be in the middle. Why? The longer the nail extension, the higher the apex. The shorter the nail extension, the lower the apex. But the thickest part should be always in the middle, because you need to give these nails a life of 3 to 4 weeks. And therefore, while moving forward, growing together with natural nails, apex, by being placed on the right side, will still remain as a main weight on the natural nail plate, and therefore avoiding breakage or lifting like a leverage, you know, like while moving out, it just falls off if the weight is on the wrong part. So to answer your question, it's not about distance from the cuticle, it's about being in the middle of a natural nail bed of this particular customer.
Fabulous. And again from Asia, what is the thickness of the apex and the C curve?
You know, I've been working 25 years almost with the nails, and it was a shocker to me to hear first time many years ago that there can be actual measurement. So to answer your question, it can be all about 1 to 2 millimeters thick, depending on an entire structure of the nail, the shape, the length, and everything. So in general, answering your question, you can do the thinnest nails as long as apex is the thickest part of the nail structure. I hope that answered the question.
Sure it did. Thank you. What is better, LED or UV from Asia?
Yes, as I said, LED definitely best, because the lifetime of the bulbs is actually, I think, almost infinite. UV bulbs you have to exchange a lot, and UV light is physically weaker, therefore requires longer time for curing your products. And bulbs of UV is actually mostly out of production nowadays, but you need to exchange them constantly, because every bulb of UV has its lifetime, and if you work a lot with this lamp, you need to exchange them on time. And the older types of lamps, the smarter production used to put even a timer for the bulbs to be exchanged. If you don't have such timer, it's difficult to follow, so your service may suffer much more with UV. I am all for LED for a long time. The only thing on the LED, try to work with thinner application of a gel, not to cause any burning, because it's much faster reaction, and therefore diffusion creates a lot of heat and therefore may damage the nails.
A question from Lydia. What is the best way to check the lamp without damaging your eyes?
Actually, it's quite a confusing and interesting question to me. You don't have to look into the lights at all to check the quality. All it is about placement of the bulbs to be closer to the nail plates, and the more the number of the bulbs, the better it is for your service. So you don't have to look at the lights at all. In fact, I wouldn't. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. From Marites Rosario, for how many hours is the standard to do gelish manicure with removal?
This question is very tricky to answer, because actually I think the timing normally is placed in the nail chains with salons that have 10 to more branches. Their goal is to stick to the standard services for the customers, allowing at any part of the city or the country to get the same quality. To establish the time for gel polish and a manicure is actually, I would say, about 30 minutes for cleansing the nail plates, about 10 minutes to removing the previous gel polish, and about 15 to 20 minutes to reapplying the gel. But you may also have extra service, which we discussed earlier, which is strengthening gel. It's an add-on service. So I hope it answers your question. Average time is about an hour, 20 minutes, depending on the client's needs and depending on the client's nail plates. But standard is 1 hour and more.
Okay, fab. Can you use solvent for thinning gel polish?
No, not at all, because gel polish is actually a polymer and it doesn't have solvents, and therefore you will just completely destroy the gel polish. Solvents can be used only on regular lacquers or nail polishes.
Okay. After removing the acrylic extension, I see green colour in the nails. What is it and what is the cause of that green colour? And that's from Marites again.
The green color is actually not a good condition. You should definitely refer this client to using as a salon. You can suggest her tea tree oil. You need to put her onto regular manicures with no coating whatsoever. The green color is known as a pseudomonia. It's a type of infection, and normally it's caused by regular lifting of your acrylic nails. So let's say the customer has acrylic nails, it lifted somewhere, and this condition goes on for a week, 2 or 3. That may cause a trapping of different products, soap, water, cooking, whatever it is, and allowing certain infections to develop. And normally, as of now, it's known as a pseudomonia that should be removed and treated, definitely. So that means you should stop applying anything on this client, allow her to use tea tree oil daily, and if she's worried, then she needs to see a dermatologist. But the best you can do is to practice on your prep techniques and therefore avoid any lifting whatsoever. That is no-go in nail services.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question from Jane Whittington. How do you stop your therapist from digging?
From digging?
Yes.
I may only assume the question because it's not too clear for me. Digging, I hope I understand it right. That means when your manicurist is too much removing or digging into the nail plate or nail skin folds or whatever. Normally, I deal with retraining the nail technicians, so there are very little of newbies that come in my way nowadays. It's mostly the established nail technicians, and I would say that by allowing her to know the nail anatomy, again, a refresher course, by letting her use actually the right tools. Let's say during my manicure training, I normally remove all the nippers away and I'm giving them only 2 or 3 tools that are non-cutting tools and asking them to achieve the clean results without cutting. And understanding of this and practice on seeing the anatomy, seeing the real cuticle and the difference between eponychium and the cuticle, that it's not all the cuticle, it is 2 types of the skin, and one of them is living, another one is non-living. That allows sometimes, in most cases, to manicurists to actually reshuffle her knowledge and allows her to see that a result of being clean does not require a lot of digging. I hope that was the question that I understood.
Okay, thank you, Galina. A couple more questions. You've been very popular. From Monishka, what is the trick of holding nail tips on very small brittle nail beds, as some customers complain that their extensions don't last long enough? Please advise.
I would suggest using your tips very rare, or actually telling to yourself, I need to learn another technique, which is forms. Plastic tips on beaten nails is actually a huge art to apply. the best is to work with sculpting forms. Why? Because bitter nails have too little area to react with your main product, your main strength. It's either gel or it's the acrylic. The tips are applied normally onto adhesives that are very basic adhesives, and therefore they hold just for 1 day or 2. And if you're applying the majority and covering the majority of the nail plate with the tip and the glue, or actually the adhesive, therefore the surface will suffer. A, because your nail plates are too short. B, because you didn't leave a room for the main strength product, the acrylics or the gels. So convert, in this case, we have a special course, convert into sculpting forms by allowing the small nail plates to be covered by the main strength product, acrylic or the gels. Tips are, I'm not advising tips in general.
Okay, great. I'm going for one last question because we're running out of time. Any other questions I'll send to you, Galina, directly, and we can post them on our Instagram page or something for the other questions that haven't been answered. So from Pinky, is there specific polish remover for gel polish or normal, or can a normal one be used?
I know it is very common here in UAE or Middle East using the acetone. To be honest, guys, we should stop that. We're damaging nails. Acetones are not good during gel polish removal. There is a way better technique, which is using your e-files with the correct tools. Not all tools are suitable, and therefore you're just buffing off by leaving the healthy base coat or strengthening gel on the nail plate. When you're soaking in the acetone, the entire nail for 20 minutes, whatever production it is, best or not, you are actually drying out the nail plate, you're drying the skin, you're damaging all. Just compare it. Soaking in the water during manicure for more than 5 minutes is unhealthy for your nails. Then what happens if you're soaking it in the acetone for 20 minutes? It's a killer for nails. So I'm not advising using acetone for gel polish removal at all. I'm inviting you into a new world technique by removing by correct e-files without any damages. I hope that answers the question.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much, Galina, for your time. Some of you have asked whether this recording is going to be going anywhere. We have recorded it live, and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel today for you to go back and watch. If anyone has any further questions, I know that you do on the chat. I will send these over to Galina to answer for you. And if anyone wants to be connected with Galina after this, then pop me an email and I will be happy to introduce you. So thank you for your time, Galina. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much. I really hope that my knowledge was useful. I'm looking forward to helping and to training forward. Thank you, Professional Beauty GCC, for connecting all of us, and especially within these times. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone on the nail competition, the Nail Championship Middle East 2021, which will be the second time. And that's where you can elevate your skills and use the knowledge that we all share with Professional Beauty GCC. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Galina. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a great rest of your day.